Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of KigerCraft. I'm Tegorso, and there he is. I'm here with Garen, and today we are going to be doing a little work on the upper side of the keep. As you can see, I've kind of removed the roof a little bit. I was trying to gauge where the openings were without destroying the walls that we had already had here. Because for a long time I've talked about doing a sort of a glass-topped dome up there. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And I have sort of an interesting topic to talk about. Something that I think is really important, but oops, we're not quite there yet. A lot of people are going to be afraid of. There we go. And that is math. Now, before you stop the recording, before you tune me out, and talk, I'll go, boy, I hate math, and all that stuff. Don't worry, okay? Because I was in your shoes. For most of my life, I hated math. I didn't want to do it. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't know what I was going to need it for, if I was ever going to need it. The problem with that is that I was completely wrong. You need math. I need math. Everybody needs math. And we need a whole hell of a lot of it. It's not really something that you can escape. No matter what job you have, you're going to need math, and depending on which job you have is really only going to depend on what level of math or how much math you're going to need, because you're going to need some, but you're just going to need some. Now I can't blame you for not hating, or for hating math. I know a lot of our viewers are younger, and you guys probably are like, oh man, I gotta take math every day at school. It's not your fault. Personally, I think that math is unfun, and people hate it because of teachers. I think math teachers are very poor at getting students to like math. I mean, they just make it so boring. And I think that's more or less because of standardized testing, but it still doesn't change the fact that most students hate math. So I personally didn't like math pretty much until I got into college, and that's when I learned that, you can do math, or at least I can do math. I'm sure you can probably do math too, but that's not what I'm talking about. Because two things happened. One, I was put into a remedial math class. I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that, but I was put into remedial math in college. I didn't have the kind of scores that I needed to get into the math classes that I needed to get into. Oops, I'm out of stairs. Do you have stairs? Yay. Because my major, electronics, required me to have a certain level of math, and I was not able to meet that requirement. So I had to take a remedial math course. But I actually am of the opinion that that probably was the best thing to happen to me since I graduated high school. I mean, it was really profound. All right, let's take a look at this. Looking pretty good. I'm thinking I want to do one more layer, but my math teacher was sort of a slacker, I guess you could describe him. And his approach, my college remedial math teacher is the one I'm talking about. His approach was very unorthodox from what I was used to from, like high school. Because, oops, shucks, oh crap. Whew, I just barely survived that one. Oof. Okay, well, well, we gotta get back up there. But he would assign us just homework. He wouldn't do anything else. So, and he was the sort of teacher who would assign the questions that have the answers in the back of the book. Because usually in the back of math books, they have the odd answers, or the ones that they have the solutions in the back. And I know in high school I was always like hoping for a teacher that would do that, so I could just copy down the answers and everything like that. But the thing is that with him, it didn't matter if you got the questions right or not. With him, he was more concerned about whether or not you knew what you were doing. And whether or not the question was right was irrelevant. Because when we would go into class, we would spend, thank you, I've been refilled. We would spend all of the time going over the homework. And he never collected it. He never corrected it. We were only expected to ask questions. So if there was something that we didn't understand, or we couldn't figure out, he told us that it was okay if we looked in the back of the book to figure out if we had the right answer. But it didn't matter if you had the right answer. In fact, he would probably prefer that you have the wrong answer, so that way you could ask questions in class. So that right there pretty much profoundly changed the way that I looked at homework. So it sort of made me want to get the problem right, because I guess it removed anxiety about getting the question right or the answer right. So it was sort of a weird phenomenon, because I had always had really bad math teachers. Like, for instance, my 9th grade math teacher was the track coach. I can tell you from personal experience that track coaches make terrible math teachers. Okay, I'm refilled on health, so because I'm going to take another fall here. If I can just aim for this chest. Alright, I didn't take as much damage. Alright, let's take a look at this. It's looking pretty good. I want to remove a couple of those blocks up there. So let's go ahead and pillar up. But yeah, so he removed the anxiety from math, and once the anxiety was gone, I found that I could focus on the math better. And this was before I really knew what I wanted to do, so I didn't know that I needed math so badly. And while we're here, we'll do these as bricks. So it was very eye-opening, because it taught me that math isn't necessarily hard. I can do it. I just haven't been taught to do it, if that makes sense. I think I'm going to remove these because I want to see more of the glass. There we go. So, but and then I got to my major coursework, and the math really hit me. I went from from doing algebra, basic algebra, to doing trigonometry, and it was really scary, to be honest. I don't want those blocks there, bad blocks. But I listened to my teacher, I listened to my professor, and he taught me, the things that I needed to know. And it was amazing because I could sit here and do this complex math that, I thought was really only for smart people. And it sort of made me feel good because I felt like one of those smart people. And then after that, I learned about how needed math is, how widespread it is, and how it permeates pretty much everything that we do. And there's been a big math kick going on, and I don't know if everybody on YouTube has sort of gotten into it, but I know that me and Garen sure have, and that's because of the whole tau versus pi debate, and how tau is better than pi. So that's sort of where this is coming from, if any of you were wondering. But we'll link it in the description. I recommend that you watch it because it's really interesting, because it comes from a YouTuber named Vihart, who is just absolutely makes math seem beautiful. And it's something that I wanted to share with you guys because not having math put me at a serious disadvantage in life in general. It really limited me on what I can and can't do. And once I started learning math, those limitations sort of melted away. Let's take a look up here. All right, that's actually looking pretty nice. I think I might remove a little bit more of the clutter up there, but I'm actually liking this. It's not as round as I would like, but I don't really think that, you can do very round things in a blocky game. So I'm just gonna have to live with it. But I kind of want to, at least, I don't think that most of the younger people are gonna listen to me. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We're just going to have to see. But I want to sort of, warn people that, math is not as scary as it seems. It can be actually lots of fun and really rewarding, which is not something that people are used to thinking about. But, a lot of you and a lot of people like you and like me want to do video games, and I hate to break it to you, if you hate math and you want to do video games, then video games and you are incompatible. You need math. Math and video games are like peanut butter and jelly. They go together like two peas in a pod. I mean, I can't come up with any other cheesier ways to come up with, a scenario like it. Okay, this can be removed. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and break that. And let's go ahead and fix this up. But math and video games, I mean, without some mathematicians, video games wouldn't even exist. They wouldn't even be possible. Math enables us to draw things to a screen, like you're seeing right now. It enables us to record video because it's all just numbers, and you have to give those numbers meaning. All right, let's see. I think this can stand to be gone. And if you have a bad math teacher or you don't like math, I encourage you to get a math book. Find something that you like. Like if you like games, then find a math book on, game mechanics and, game mathematics. They exist. They're out there. You can find them. Because math is such an important part of game theory. Pillar up here. I need to get a couple. I'm going to clean this area up a little bit. Oops. Let's go ahead and remove these. But it's sort of like a thing where if I can at least send the message, you don't have to listen, though it would be in your interest to. Oh, I missed a bunch down there. Okay, we'll get them. But, you know, math is wonderful. It's amazing. And believe it or not, it can actually be fun. Gosh, I sort of had a brain fart right now, but, you know, it seems scary. And, you know, I don't blame you for being scared. But if you can find something that you're interested in, it'll definitely make it easier. You know, for me, it was having to figure out, you know, sine waves of electronic signals. And I remember I opened up my first course in electronics or for electrical engineering, really, and it was nothing but math. It looked like a math textbook. Okay, let's see if we can get a good vantage point. We can't really see. Okay, let's see if we can get over and cross my little bridge here. All right, here we go. Oops. There we go. And we'll just bust through the wall right here. Uh-oh. Get that. There we go. All right, here's my dirt staircase. I know you guys hate these, but they're necessary. They're temporary, I promise. All right, it's not too bad. You know what it needs, though? It needs more stairs. Stairs on the outside. All right, let's go ahead and add those in. But yeah, it was really scary. But you know, I had to do it. Electronics was what I wanted to do, and what made it easier was the fact that it was in something I was interested in. I wanted to do this electronic stuff, so I put more effort into learning it because it was something that I wanted to do. It was no longer something that I had to do. Well, I mean, I had to do it if I wanted to graduate, but, you know, I was in that class by choice, not by force. So, that I think was a big, you know, determining factor. So, if you can find something you're interested in, like you want to do video games and stuff like that, then, you know, find a math book on it. Oops, these are upside down. That's not what I want. Because you're going to need it. And, you know, look up all the sort of fun stuff. I mean, you can go to, like, Khan Academy. There's a lot of really awesome resources out there for, you know, math and learning these days. And you can learn it easily. You don't have to, you know, go to school. Or if you have a cool math teacher that, you know, maybe you were neglecting because you thought you hated math, maybe you can ask for a little bit of extra help. And they can help show you how cool math is. I know I had a couple teachers who were like that, but I never took advantage of the help that they offered. So, you know, that was kind of a bonehead move, but, you know, we all live and learn. But, ooh, gosh, I'm on fire. I've been on fire a lot lately. Yeah, learn from my mistakes. You know, that's sort of why I'm talking about this, because I made a lot of mistakes, you know, in not learning math. And now that I sort of understand, oh, that looks much better. That looks much, much better. Okay, I think I'm going to have to remove that right there because that is just not working out. But I think I'm going to keep sort of the spirit of that thing alive, and we may do a tower out here one day. We will just have to see. You know, so I doubt, like I said, I doubt really anybody is going to listen to me because I'm sort of rambling, but I think I talk about it because I think it's important. And if one person can sort of listen to what I'm saying and, you know, take a little bit of a lesson from it and learn a little something, then, you know, then I did my job. It's actually something, oops, went a little too far. That's actually a sort of a philosophy that I have when I do things. Some of you may be familiar with that from the channel. I know I've said before, I don't remember when, but I know I've said before that, you know, as long as we have one person who enjoys our stuff and is willing to come watch, then, you know, doing these videos is totally worth it. You know, just for that one person. Ooh, it's so much brighter in here. This is so much better. And it looks okay. I'm not digging the lighting glitches up there, but I'm not too worried. This actually kind of looks pretty good. It's not as round as I would like, but I'm not hating it. Not hating it at all. So, you know, it's just something that I've said before about, you know, the one person. So, let's go ahead and go up here and see if there's any. There are a couple touch-up places, so let's go ahead and touch these up. There we go. Lonely dirt block up here. But if you guys want to see some fun stuff with math, well, it's more like physics, but there's a great comic out there called XKCD, and it's been one of my favorite comics for a really long time, but the stuff that he talks about in those comics is complex math because he likes math. He thinks math is fun, and it's a great way to explain the world around us. So I unfortunately never really got a lot of the really witty humor and fun stuff that XKCD does. But yes, Garen definitely helped. There is a portion, they have a blog called What If. And What If is amazing because he goes through and he takes these really sort of out there, I guess you could say, questions like, you know, what if, you know, everybody on the planet took a laser pointer and pointed it at the moon? You know, these very wide, very gigantic scientific ideas. And, you know, he answers them, and he answers them with math. And sometimes it actually turns out to be a terrific disaster because, you know, something blows up or something, you know, there we go. It's very, very interesting, and I personally, I love it. I mean, XKCD is one of my favorite things ever. Kieran's so helpful. But it sort of showed me that math is something that, you know, you can have fun with. You can come up with crazy ideas, and it can work. So, if you guys don't believe me, go read the What If blog on XKCD. It's fun and amazing, and you won't regret the time you spent there. And I'm filling this in because some people complained about this, and I'm not doing it because you guys complained about it. I'm doing it because I want to. I'm sort of getting ideas. Crap. But you know, there's some really awesome stuff on XKCD. My favorite one was probably the one that they did recently about they actually did the if everybody pointed a laser pointer at the moon, what would happen? And I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen because it's freaking awesome and amazing, and you really need to read. There's not that many what ifs, so there's only about 17, Garen? Is it about 17 or so? Oh, he doesn't remember. he slinks away. So, you know, there's not that many of them, so it won't take you all that long. All right. Oh crap, we missed a couple. But yeah, it's just sort of like an example of what you can do when you just kind of start to love math. So, I mean, I have to say that even though I try and fight it, I do love math. At least I do now. I didn't always, but you know, that was sort of what we talked about. But yeah. Alright, let's get in here. Yes, and if you guys do have some time, it doesn't take very long. It'll actually only take about an hour and maybe hour or so to learn all about why tau is better than pi. And it will actually make... Jeez. Bear removed all my dirt. Yeah, Vihart's video is actually only about 5 minutes long, but she very eloquently explains the tau versus pi debate. And then there's also a website called tauday.com where you can go and you can watch about a 50-minute presentation of Michael Hartle, who sort of popularized the idea of pi versus tau and, you know, why tau is better. So I definitely recommend that you go watch those. They're entertaining, even if you don't get the math behind it. It's entertaining nonetheless. So go do that. And then leave a comment about if your mind was blown or not, because mine certainly was. Let's see, what else was there? Oh no, I wanted to mention something else, but it's escaping my brain. Oh, and XKCD, which I've already mentioned. Now, some of you might already read it, and that's good. But okay, let's do a little. We can do a little bit of cleanup here. Get this dirt out of here. Oops. No, I can't get up. There we go. All right. That. But yeah, so like I said, if don't fear math anymore. Embrace it. You're gonna have to eventually. So you might as well do it on your terms, right? Rather than, you know, on somebody else's. Because if you do it, one thing that I've learned is that if you need to do something or you know you're going to do it, it's better to do it on your own terms than on anybody else's. Because if you ever have a reason that you need to do something and you have like a boss who's demanding that you do it, they are not going to be forgiving. At least if you do it on your own terms, you can make mistakes. You can go about, learning at your own speed and, sort of take your time and you'll be better off for it. But if you're doing it on somebody else's terms, as most people will know, it's not exactly very fun. So fight the man, fight the power, do things your own way. be an independent person. That's my message, with lots of little hearts and all that stuff. But you know, you're not going to be able to do things your own way most of your life. So while you're younger, you can. So exercise that right. Do things your way. Alright, we just got a couple more here. Just bust that out. I do have blocks left. Yay. Here we go. I honestly don't know. But hopefully at least one. But probably none. I don't know. We won't know. We won't know for a long time. They're not jerks. They don't know any better. I wouldn't have listened. So what does that say? I wouldn't have listened. Yeah, neither of us would have. So if you don't listen, you know, you'll find out we were right eventually, I guess. Just like I did. And that's what sucks. Yeah, it's too late. You're already screwed. So, oh, this kind of took a depressing turn. Alright. Yeah, well, everybody loves you, so maybe they'll put a smile on their face. Everybody loves the bear. Alright, let's take a quick gander at what we've done. Oh, that looks better. That looks better. There's some space there. Maybe we can put something up there. You already have a fan club and you know it. I'm out of arrows. You're lucky. Alright, so let's go ahead and head on up to the viewing platform on the front side tower. Take a look at our handiwork and maybe kill a creeper. Whoa! Get out of here, creeper. There we go. Run from the zombies. There we go. Alright. Just go right on up here. And boom. There it is. There's our handiwork. I probably should have removed that giant floating dirt gun, but whatever. I think it looks drastic. Shh, quiet you. I think it actually looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. So, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna call this episode here. I hope some of you, at least gave me the time of day and listened to what I have to say, because I care about you guys, so I want to share my knowledge of my failings and what I've learned in the future. So hopefully somebody will listen. Nah, probably not. All right. Well, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.